The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are KC.
The once unthinkable has happened. After 5 blown saves, Joakim Soria is out as Royals closer for now. Rookie Aaron Crow will carry his 1.33 ERA to the closer's role effective tonight. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Jeff Francis' last start at Kauffman Stadium was his best of the year, and the Royals will use that for inspiration tonight as they get ready for Game 2 with the Los Angeles Angels. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And last year, Joakim Soria was the Royals Pitcher of the Year. He was an American League All-Star. He had 36 straight saves, a team record. And now, Frank, before June the 1st this year, he is out as Royals closer.
Well, Ryan, it's never a good thing when a player goes into a manager's office and takes himself out of a role. And that tells you that maybe from a confidence standpoint, something is missing. So it's not a good move for the Royals overall, but it may be a good move in the long run.
It is a career-high 5 blown saves for Joakim Soria, and particularly bad recently, 3 blown saves over the Royals' last 7 games. So, Aaron Crow, a year ago, disappointed that he didn't make the team out of spring training. He fell all the way back to A-ball. Now this year, not only did he make the club, he's closer tonight.
Well, Ryan, sometimes you got to take one step backwards to take 2 steps forward, and that's what Aaron Crow was able to do. Came into spring training with a lot of confidence, came into the season with a lot of confidence, and he's looking at this new role as just getting 3 outs.
And boy, do the Royals need a big lift on the mound tonight. Over their last 7 games, almost allowing 8 runs per game and 12 hits per game. However, Jeff Francis will take the mound, and the last time he was on the mound here at Kauffman Stadium, he held the Cardinals, one of the best offensive teams in the National League, scoreless in 7 2/3 innings. We'll talk more about him when we come back. Royals baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Couldn't ask for a better day. The Royals hope that's a sign of better days to come. And Jeff Francis hasn't faced the Angels since April the 1st, but he only gave up 1 run in 7 innings.
And that's what he has to do, Ryan. His last outing, those early inning runs really put him in a hole. But if he can get through these early innings, first 4 innings, and keep the Angels off the board, he should be able to get deep in this ballgame.
The lineup he will face tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines. No Bobby Abreu, and that's no surprise. Bobby Abreu is 0 for 12 with 8 strikeouts against Jeff Francis, so he will gladly sit on the bench tonight. But Francis will have to be careful with Torrey Hunter.
Well, Torrey Hunter is an opportunistic hitter. You get behind him, he makes it very dangerous. So he's got to change speeds. And the one pitch that he hasn't seen a lot of, Ryan, you got to pitch inside in order to get something away.
Take a look at the Royals defensively tonight. Same outfield. And on the infield, it's Betamede at third, Chris Getz at second base. And with Jeff Francis on the mound, Brian Pena is behind the plate. Coming back from a tough road trip, the Royals were hoping for a lift early yesterday, and they got it. Alex Gordon, the first pitch in the bottom of the first inning, and he homered against Irvin Santana. Game 2, the Royals and the Angels, and the first pitch is next. Comes to you from beautiful Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. And we go out to right field, and here's Joe Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. You know, a lot of times the beauty of baseball is you get to play again the next day. But for Brian Pena being off yesterday, he's had to think about a miserable end to Sunday for 48 hours, really. That play at the plate, he got the ball early, chance to make the tag, took a step back, unable to complete it. He said he didn't sleep very much at all on Sunday night. He's had a lot of people ask him if he was influenced at all by the injury recently to Buster Posey in a collision at the plate. He said never thought about that, hasn't thought about that. That had nothing to do with it. He messed up the play. He apologized to his teammates to the fans. He says he wouldn't change anything as far as the game is played. He hopes to continue playing it the same way. No problem with collisions at the plate, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. Well, I don't think he had to do much apologizing because he is a popular teammate. I think the guys in the clubhouse realize that how much he cares and the effort that he puts out every night. And he's behind the plate for Jeff Francis, who pitched very well against the Angels back here on April the 1st. His last start was a no decision Thursday at Baltimore. Hit by a couple of home runs. Both off the bat of Nolan Reimold, who drove in 4 of the 5 runs against Francis that afternoon. It'll be Eric Ibar, Myceres Turris, and Torrey Hunter in the first inning. Ibar hitless yesterday. He did reach with a walk, and he did that. He laid down a bunt and did so in the first inning, moving up a runner, and the Angels scored a run. Got it in on his hands, and no balls and 2 strikes.
All right, when you look at the lineup for the Angels tonight, you might see a lot more guys attempting bunts.
Mike Scioscia plays a very aggressive style of baseball. Got some of that from his days playing with the Dodgers. That was the way Tommy Lasorda played the game. Mike Scioscia earlier this year won his 1,000th game, becoming the 23rd manager in Major League history to win 1,000 games with one team. Up the right field line and off the wall. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ibar. It is absolutely perfect in Kansas City, provided, of course, that you like 81 degrees sunshine and a gentle breeze. And we started right on time at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. 2-2 on Ibar. Off the end of the bat, and Francoeur didn't see it. And Chris Getz, I think, knew, and he went out as far as he could, and Ibar, with a heads-up play, turns it into a double. This is not the time of night to be playing right field at Kauffman Stadium.
But he's in that sun, and that sun is about head high, and he had all those shadows in front of him, Ryan. You're right. He didn't pick that ball up at all. But Ibar was heads up. He even got glasses on, but he still has no clue where this ball is. And Chris Getz does hustle and he's trying to point in the right direction. But credit Ibar with a hustle double on that play.
Inside now to Myceres Turris.
Well, Jeff Francis really relies on those big hitters, those guys with those big swings, so he can try to utilize his changeup a little bit better. But the Angels have hitters in this lineup that are kind of pesky, and it'll be harder for him to use his changeup because they're not trying to do too much at the plate. They just want to make contact, and they'll probably do the hit and run and things like that. So it's a little bit tougher lineup for him to face with. You got Ibar, Turris, Borges, and Reggie Willis. So those are just a few that might make it difficult.
Turris was 0 for 3 yesterday, but he did reach twice and he scored twice. 2 balls, 1 strike. It is against the so-called book to play for just 1 run in the first inning, and the Angels did that yesterday. And if Turris lays down a bunt and gives up an out, that's kind of a go for 1 run approach. But he's swinging, and the count is 2-2.
You don't have a lot of power in the first inning, man on second, nobody out. I think the rule applies, just get him to third base. And I don't think hitters think about the inning when they do that. They basically want to get the job done. And I think they get just as big a high fives, whether it be the first inning or the third or fourth inning. Just it's all about executing.
3-2.
A man on second, Torrey Hunter. No, he's not going to butt.
Lined into right center field. One hop to Melky Cabrera. Ibar will be held at third, and there will be 2 on for Torrey Hunter.
We talked about just being nice and short. They just want to make contact, not trying to do too much, still trying to get the job done. And as Church was able to hit this ball over second base. Cabrera, they plant shallow, so he was able to get the ball quickly. And that held out Ibar at third base.
So 2 on for Torrey Hunter, who hit 2 more home runs yesterday. So that's 4 straight series for Hunter against the Royals, where he's had at least 2 home runs. He ended up driving in 4. On the year, Torrey Hunter has hit 8 home runs, and half of those have come against the Royals in just 5 games.
They're just one of those hitters that if you don't pitch inside, it's kind of hard to get those guys from, keep those guys from really having a maximum effort in their swing, and you get behind and you're still pitching the same pitching pattern. They pick it up pretty quickly. But if you move the fastball inside a few times, then you can open up the outside for your changeup and your fastball.
Not only did Hunter hit 2 home runs yesterday, he also grounded into a double play, and he leads the league with 14 of those. 1 ball, 1 strike. Torrey Hunter has 31 career home runs against the Royals. That's the most for him against any other team. Much to the surprise, I'm sure, of nobody. Talked to him before the game, Frank, and I asked him, what is it about Kauffman Stadium? I mean, is it the backdrop? Is it the batter's box? I mean, why do you feel so comfortable? And we've shared this before, but he spent a lot of time here. He had 4 uncles here at one time, and he used to spend his summers in Kansas City, and he watched his first major league game here when he was 16 years old. He was at a tryout with a bunch of major league scouts watching him. And so even though he's been around for a long time and achieved quite a bit, he still feels like a little kid when he comes to Kauffman Stadium, because this was the first major league game that he ever saw.
Another aspect of that, he does have family members watching, so I'm sure that plays into that a little bit too. But this is not really a homer-friendly ballpark, but for some reason he picks the right day. It was always hot, got a breeze, and then he hits from behind in the count, and he makes the count.
Got him with a big sweeping curveball. So 1st and 3rd and 1 out.
Jeff Francis waited to the right time to introduce the curveball. It goes down underneath the swing, and he just saw nothing but fastball, changeup, and here's that curveball, first one of the night, and he picked the right time to use it.
And on the other end, Pena blocks the pitch in the dirt, so that keeps the runners at 1st and 3rd, and the double play is still in order for Alberto Callaspo. The Angels had an excellent game yesterday overall, coming up with 10 runs, 15 hits. They hit 4 home runs, but the middle of their order in particular, and yesterday it was Bobby Abreu, Torrey Hunter, and Alberto Callaspo. Those 3 had 10 hits. And with 1 walk mixed in there, they were on base 11 times. 11 times for the 3, 4, 5 hitters. 2-0. Callaspo hit 5th. Yesterday he hits 4th with Bobby Abreu out of the lineup. Callaspo, in case you were wondering, has grounded into 5 double plays. Lays off the changeup down and away. 3-0.
Alberto really hits both ways the same way. Right-handed, he really tries to hit the ball to right center field, and left-handed, he tries to go to left field. So he's not going to overswing. So he's more of a contact guy. And in this 3-0 situation, that'd be a good time for him to hit also.
He was on his way to first. That will make Field and Colbreth, the home plate umpire, very happy. 3-1.
It looked like he was taking all away on this pitch, and it's right at the, it's a good pitch.
There's no reward for doing that. I always think the risk is too great
For leaving the bat?
I mean, just stand there.
If you take him, why not just stand there? Right?
Yeah,
I agree.
Why take the chance to upset the umpire? You get an umpire on the wrong day. I mean, Jeff Francis could throw his hat up there, and Field and Colbreth might call it a strike.
Well, umpire doesn't like to be that. In a way, that's showing up the umpire, and they don't like to see that at all.
Angels opened the game with an Eric Ibar double. Then Myceres Turris singled him over to third. Torrey Hunter just struck out. We'll see if his Turris takes off. Francis is thinking along those lines and flips it over to first.
Well, managers don't usually like to run with a left-handed pitcher on the mound, but Mike Scioscia is totally different than most managers. He likes to play aggressively all the time. He won't get as good a jump against a left-hander, but if he goes and the ball's on the ground, it could open up a hole.
And Callaspo is one of the toughest in the league to strike out, and he pulls it through the hole, and the Angels take a 1-0 lead. Alberto Callaspo, by the way, is 10 out of 17 against the Royals this year.
He just got a nice short swing. He doesn't try to overswing. He just hits the ball where it's pitched, and he had a lot of room over there on the left side to get this ball into the outfield as we watch Ibar cross home plate.
Now first and second, one out for Mark Trumbo, who also moves up in the order with Bobby Abreu out tonight. Change up in the dirt is saved by Pena. Trumbo had one of the 4 home runs in yesterday's game. He drove in 2. That gives him 10 home runs on the year, and that leads all American League rookies. At a play, 1-1. In describing his power, and we kind of dust off an old baseball term here, but somebody said Mark Trumbo has light tower power. The old minor league ballparks, they used to have the old light towers, and only the best power hitters could hit it over or through the light towers.
So they're talking about not only height of the home run, but distance of the home run, and that's going over the light tower.
If you have light tower power in the major leagues, as soon as you cross home plate, there'll be a doctor with a plastic cup waiting for you in the dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. "36 home runs for him last year in the minor leagues. He and Mike Moustakas had the most home runs in all of the minor leagues last year. Batting with his Turris at second and Callaspo at first. Tried to crowd him 2-2. Francis has no decisions against the Angels in his career, but he has pitched well. 3 starts and a 2.7 ERA. And we told you about what he did back on April the 1st. Just 1 run, 5 hits in 7 innings. He took a no decision. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A no decision because the Royals ended up winning that game in the bottom of the 9th inning on a walk-off home run from Kila Kaihue. Runners go, and it's grounded past Escobar and into center field. So the Angels get a second run. Trumbo drives in his 28th, getting his Turris to the plate.
With big power hitters, you look at strikeouts and you don't know if they're going to run the runners, but in this case he just stayed with that breaking ball and just took it right back down through the middle. Didn't try to overswing and got himself a base hit. And you see Caspo, after Escobar misses the dive, Caspo scores easily on this play.
So that's a bit against the book, because you don't run with Caspo. He hardly strikes out at all. But you do run with Trumbo, who has 45 strikeouts this year.
He just got to feel like he can put Jeff Francis in play before you make that call. And you are talking about a strike him out, throw him out situation when the guy runs with a guy that strikes out a lot at the plate.
I guess the problem would be is if you go by the book too much, well, then you're too predictable for the other side.
Well, and you know Mike Scioscia is never going to be predictable. You have no clue when he's going to do what he's going to do. You know, first and second, nobody out. You usually don't run in that situation. He'll run in that situation.
Two balls and no strikes on Peter Borges. 31 pitches for Francis, and he has one out in the first inning. And really no surprise that Borges has only grounded into 2 double plays this year with his speed. Three balls, no strikes. Third base coach Dino Ebel rolling through the signs, and we'll see if Borges has the green light. He hit one of the 4 home runs yesterday, and he is swinging, not very deep in left field. Caspo tags and comes down the line about 5 steps. Brian Pena had to go quite a bit to his left to save it. So Borges too shallow for a run to score, and there are 2 down.
Around with Alex gets a little flat-footed right here. He didn't really get behind this ball and come through it. He kind of was flat-footed, and you can see how that throw was off. He didn't have the right rhythm that he needed to make a good throw. You get behind it, then you step through it right into your throw, but he caught it with one hand above his head, and then he got going, and then made it that all the strength and power shifted from his legs to his arm, and that's why that ball was in on the foul side of the home plate.
And Frank, I don't know if you noticed it. I did. Brian Pena was a good 3 steps in front of home plate that time.
Well, you can only imagine what was going through his mind. He had the ball so early, and catchers aren't used to getting the ball that early. And he didn't really know whether he was going to have to do a tag play or get bowled over. So just a miscalculation.
Angels get 2 in the top of the first inning. and he throws 35 pitches. And now here come the Royals in the bottom of the first with Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, Jeff Francoeur, Billy Butler, Wilson Betemit, Brian Pena, Chris Getz, and Alcides Escobar. Royals lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Tonight, they face right-hander Joel Pinheiro.
You know, Ryan, he's going to have that sinker working tonight. That's what he needs to do, and he's got his split finger to go with it. But he's given up a lot of hits his last two starts, like 22 hits. So the Royals can look at that and say that he is hittable and just go up there and make him get the ball up and put it in play and see what happens.
Only his 7th start of the year because he began the season on the disabled list. Problems with his right shoulder. And Alex, after taking a rip at the first pitch yesterday and hitting a home run, now shortens up to bunt.
That's Alex said if he felt more comfortable in that #1 spot. He said he did because it allows him to see a few more pitches early in the game. And then when he comes up that second at bat, he has an idea of what the pitcher throws.
Opens the inning with a base hit into center field.
And this ball's going away from him. You see how he stayed on that ball and he didn't pull off of it like last year. He'd probably would have pulled off that and rolled over to second base. But look at the swing path of the bat coming straight down. Didn't have that loop in it, and he finished high with two hands. And I think he's just getting better and better. And he just felt like in that third spot, he said he felt okay, but getting back into the #1 spot put him back where he was early in the season when he was in the third spot. If you can understand what I'm saying right there.
I hear you. I was on board the whole way.
Okay.
Melky had a base hit, also reached with a walk and scored a run yesterday. 1 ball, 1 strike. Melky still the team leader with 33 RBIs. Pulled foul, 1-2, and we've gone over it many times how well Melky has played this year for the Royals and what an improvement it has been compared to last year. But just to throw in some numbers to make the point, 33 RBIs in 50 games. Last year with the Braves, 42 RBIs, so 9 more in 147 games. Still 1-2.
Well, you definitely would put clutch by that. I mean, that's leaving a lot of men on base. But I think just getting in that #2 spot and being there every single day, it's really been wonderful for him. And his offense and defense have been stellar from day one.
And that's line to left center. Borges with great speed, though. He closes quickly. So Gordon's back to first and 1 away. Here are the Angels defensively tonight. Reggie Willits is in left field instead of Bobby Abreu with Borges and Hunter. On the infield, Callaspo, Ibar, Izturis, Trumbo. 3 of those 4 are switch hitters. And Jeff Mathis is behind the dish. Well, Frank was telling you that Pinheiro's been giving up a lot of hits lately, and on Thursday against the A's, he gave up 11 hits in 6 1/3 innings. And in the start before that, he gave up 11 hits. Mathis thinking about throwing down to first base, but the ball slipped out of his hand. 1-0 on Eric Hosmer.
Let's take a look. He's already set himself to do that and just didn't get a good grip on it.
Had a play off to the third base side. For the second time in 4 games, Eric Hosmer tied his career high of 4 RBIs, 2-run home run and a 2-run double. This being the final month of, or the final day of the month of May. He has a chance to tie a rookie record for most home runs in 1 month if he homers tonight. 2 balls, 1 strike. Mark Quinn back in 1999 after he was called up. He hit 6 home runs in the month of September, and now Eric Hosmer has 5 in the month of May. On the ground and right to Ibar. An easy double play for him, and the Royals send 3 to the plate in the first inning. Brought to you by AT KCA, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. By Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? It is a gorgeous night in Kansas City. 81 perfect degrees. A little bit of rain this morning, but apparently that rain pulled all the, well, not all, but most of the humidity and clouds out of the area. We've had a perfect blue sky all day. Grounded pass, Jeff Francis, and Jeff Mathis has a leadoff single.
You know, to be successful against a guy like Jeff Francis, you got to try to go the other way back through the middle. And Jeff Mathis usually is a pull hitter, but he stayed on that pitch and hit it back through the middle.
5 hits for the Angels, 87 hits given up by Francis this year. That is most in the league. But you are going to have to swing your way on against Francis because he has some of the fewest walks in the American League. 13 walks in 68 2/3 innings. And now Willits with good speed, shortening up. 0-1.
These are just the guys in the lineup that do have speed, and these are the guys that get the infield out of position. You got Wilson Battermeat in at third, and it just opens up holes for them, and they want to hit the ball hard on the ground and use their legs.
Bunts it off of Pena's glove and down quickly 0-2.
Well, Mike Socha right here is probably looking at the batting average and saying, well, maybe we just get another guy in scoring position. But a guy like Reggie Willits, you got to be able to get that bunt down. And you always look for a breaking ball because that's the easiest pitch to bunt. But you're just making that distinction between just sacrificing or bunting for a base hit. That's been the toughest thing for most hitters to do.
He has more sacrifice bunts at the big league level than he does hits. 2 sacrifice bunts, and he's 1 for 18 at the plate. Another Angels player that has spent some time on the disabled list.
And really, Ryan, this is not a bad thing for Willits here. He's struggling getting base hits, and so Mike Scioscia said, okay, you're in the game, and this is how I can make you valuable to our ball club. We can make you do some things that help advanced runners. So it's not you just sitting there relying solely on getting a base hit.
Once again, Francis hits a right-hand batter to chase a slow curveball in the dirt. He got Hunter in the first inning. 1 away in the second.
Well, this is a strikeout pitch here, and this is not even close. I think he's pitch even bounced in front of the plate. Good pitch for Jeff Francis, bad pitch for Reggie Willits. And Pena does a good job just pushing it back out in front of the plate.
Eric Ibar opened the game with a double. Came around to score in the Angels' 2-run first. Ibar, one of 4 switch hitters in the lineup for Mike Scioscia tonight, with Myceres Turris, Alberto Callaspo, and Reggie Willits. Last year, the Angels failed to make the playoffs and struggled badly on offense. Runs way down, team batting average, on base percentage, runners in scoring position, categories where the Angels are nearly at the top in the American League. And they had big time trouble last year scoring runs, and Eric Ibar, one of several hitters who had an off season, and that followed a very good season. So go back to 2009, he hit .312, on base percentage of .353, but then his batting average dropped 59 points to .253, on base percentage down, and now back at 2009's pace. 2-1.
I always wonder why when you look down at the third baseman, he's in front of the bag and in close, and hitters still try to bunt. You know, in this situation here with a runner on first, you got the hole between first and second. I mean, the first base, second baseman open. Why not just try to hit a ground ball in that hole and try to create a first and third situation?
Instead, he pulls it to third. Betemit will go down to second base. No double play. Pretty good slide by Mathis. He was right in Getz' lap. Although Getz got a pretty good throw off. 2 down.
This is one you just got to know right away whether you can get 2 or not, but you want to make sure you get those spikes out of the ground when that runner comes up underneath you. So he's doing kind of straight up and down, so you got to really be careful. That looked like a play with Ibar running that you just get 1 out and clear the area.
And now Ibar is a threat to run. He goes on first movement. Pena's throw hits Ibar, and it knocks the ball into left center field. I don't know if that ball could hit him anywhere but the helmet and go that far away from second base. So the Angels find a painful way to get a runner to third.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He did go right away. This ball like it might have hit him in the back. I can't really see here. Like it.
Oh,
right on
wallet.
Right on the right on the wallet, and goes right in the left center field.
Shallow left center field, and it's Melky Cabrera. So the Angels leave Ibar at third. They lead 2-0. losing season last year. In our You Call It question presented by Sprint, who do you think will win the American League West? Right now the Rangers lead, but it is a very tight race in the West. Last place right now means absolutely nothing. The Oakland A's are 2 games back in last place. How about that?
With very good pitching, by the way. Yeah, that's just a tough call. I mean, they're so stacked in there real tight. I think Vernon Wells, Howie Kendrick, if they come back healthy and play a long stretch of games, and the Angels pitchers continue to pitch the way they pitch, and you can easily see the Angels coming back and finishing on top.
Francoeur grounds out to Cayaspo, 1 away. So back to the 4 teams. Royals just saw Texas, and we know all about their power with a 1-game lead over the Angels. Seattle, that's the one that shocks me. I mean, they didn't look like they had anything going for them when they came through Kansas City in April.
I agree with you. I thought that was a team that just didn't have any identity at all, and I think Eric Wedge just went in and made some changes, got rid of some players. The pitching got a little bit better, and they started winning ball games. A lot of times you just have to change the culture of your ball club, and sometimes spring training is just not enough time.
Two balls, no strikes. This is quite off topic, so I apologize. But speaking of the West, have you seen what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done?
Yes.
7 in a row, and all of a sudden they lead the National League West. 3 balls and no strikes on Billy Butler.
Well, they credit that to Kirk Gibson. I mean, the way he played, he brought that to his managing style. It's everybody's accountable, and I think that's how you get the best out of players. When you make it important to you, it becomes important to them.
One of the teams the Royals will face this year in interleague play, the Diamondbacks. Billy 1 for 4 with a walk and a run scored. He's hit in 4 straight, and he's got his average up to 292, and didn't like that call. Fox Tracks says it was across the knees and a full count.
Yeah, Fox Tracks actually says he's out.
Center field and right at Borges on the edge of the shadows in center field. 2 down. Tomorrow and every Wednesday, it's Ink Student Night and local music showcase. You'll get a $7 game ticket, pregame happy hour specials, and enjoy one of KC's best bands. This week features music from the Barclay Martin Ensemble, where the Royals take on the Angels at 3:10. So it's an Ink afternoon tomorrow. Also the final game with the Angels, and then Minnesota is in for 4 beginning on Thursday night. Wilson Betemit has hit in 6 in a row, and he is 6th in the American League with a .314 batting average. A couple of hits, including a triple yesterday, his first of the year. Two and one.
But he'd have to definitely get the surprise player of the year to this point. The way he just took off from last year, got himself in better shape, came into spring training, played well, and just been so consistent at the plate, and has played a much better third base than what he was playing at the end of last season.
It was a career year for him last year, and he might be better this year. Whoa. How about the movement on that pitch?
Yeah, he's all over it. Right now, him and fielding coverage can't get on the same page.
Movement again. Pinheiro strikes out his first, and the Royals are down in the second.
Stadium. Joel Goldberg back at the K as Torrey Hunter gets to step in. There's a good chance after you see Torrey hitting like he always does here at the K, that he's going to be out there signing autographs on his way out of the ballpark. It's something that he actually learned when he was 23 years old from Harmon Killebrew, how to sign a ball so everyone could read it. He said he was on a caravan when he was with the Twins for 7 days with Killebrew, and Killebrew was telling him that you've got to be able to sign it so people can see and read your signature legibly. He said that Killebrew said, what happens if in 150 years some kids are playing ball and somebody hits a home run and they go to look for the ball and they find another ball in the weeds and they see a signature and they can't read it? Now let's just keep playing with this. But if it's a nice, neat signature, they say, oh, Torrey Hunter, who is this guy? Maybe they Google it. They see this guy won a lot of gold gloves, went to a bunch of all-star games. They put it in a case and they put it up on their mantle, and they forever remember Torrey Hunter. He said that when going through the line, Harmon Killebrew used to take forever signing those balls so everybody could read them. And Harmon told him, it took God 7 days to create the earth. It'll take 7 days for me to teach you how to sign a ball legibly. To this day, Torrey Hunter signs that ball legibly because of Harmon Killebrew.
Great story. Does that remind you of a baseball movie? Remember the movie The Sandlot?
Sandlot with the Beast.
Yeah, and the remember they got a hold of the Babe Ruth ball?
Right.
The kid's father had a Babe Ruth ball, and he didn't know any better. He just wanted to hang out with the other kids in the neighborhood, and he knew that he needed to bring a ball to the game. So he goes to his dad's trophy case, and the ball ends up in the backyard where the Beast is. And he was worried because it was his dad's ball, and it was signed by some guy named Baby Ruth or something like. And of course, all the other kids just fall over dead when they realize what they've done.
That's true. I told Torrey after he told Joel that story, I said the only ball you don't want anybody to find with your name on it is a golf ball.
Well, Sandlot is a favorite in the Goldberg house. I personally like Bull Durham, but Mason Goldberg loves to talk about the pickle. He's in a pickle.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Alex in left field and runs down the drive off the bat of Callaspo, who is just beating up the Royals this year. Hunter back to first base and one out.
Big ballpark. Caspo's not used to driving the ball out of here from the right side, and Alex does a good job running this line drive down. He tracked that one all the way.
Speaking of Harmon Killebrew's signature, not only could you read it, but it was a beautiful looking signature. It was very John Hancock like. And let me ask you, Frank, I've got one in mind, but who has the prettiest signature among former Royals in your opinion?
I think it's a toss-up to me between Dennis Leonard and Al Fitzmaurice. I think both those guys have just tremendous signature.
I didn't think about Fitzy, but I was thinking Dennis Leonard right off the bat. But you're right, Fitzy's got a good-looking autograph. Base hit for Trumbo, who drove in a run with a single in the first inning. So the Angels with 8 base runners already in 2 1/3 innings against Jeff Francis.
Well, there's some other guys. Fred Patek has a nice signature. I used to a long time ago.
What happened?
I don't know. Somewhere went from 10 letters to 6. I don't know. Too many autograph sessions.
Kevin Shank offers up Buddy Biancalana as a good-looking Royals signature. Ball 1 to Peter Borges.
But that is a good point, though. We were taught in the minor leagues how to sign a baseball, and writing where people could read your name was an important part of it. Now you have to go by, what's this guy's number? And because that's why they put the number right next to his signature so you can know who it is. Otherwise, you have no clue.
Shallow right. Chris Getz is on it. Infield fly rule is called. And a tough game for Borges. Came up with runners at first and third in the first inning. Flied out to shallow left. Didn't get a runner home. And now with first and second in the third, pops out to second.
Yeah, this is a good pitch to hit here. And he just gets under this and pops it up. But this ball's about knee high right down the middle of the plate. And that's why you would be frustrated by not being able to do more with the pitch like that.
Bobby Wilson ended the first inning grounding into a force out. Blocked by Pena, ball one. Torrey Hunter with a leadoff walk. Mark Trumbo followed with a 1-out single. Bobby Wilson, a former 48th round pick, getting to the big leagues. 48th round in 2002. That breaks in for a strike, 1-1. Missed the corner, 2-1. Mike Scioscia, a former major league catcher and a very good one of the best defensively during his time. And the Angels oftentimes will carry 3 catchers. Bobby Wilson is a catcher. He's the DH tonight. Jeff Mathis is the catcher. Hank Conger was yesterday. He is on the bench tonight. That's a little more common in the National League than it is in the American League. Remember, Minnesota would do that from time to time, and Joe Mauer would be the designated hitter. They would have their backup in the lineup, and just in case something happened on those days, they would carry a third catcher.
You know, a lot of times, Ryan, you have to look at that third catcher and see what other positions he can play on the ball club, and if you can put him in a different position other than behind the plate or DH, it does make a big difference. A lot of times, some managers like to play both their catchers in the same game, and there's always the risk of injury. And you get down to that second catcher, then you say, well, who's my backup? Who's my emergency catcher?
Another walk given up by Francis, and that loads the bases with 2 outs. Mike Scioscia was major league catcher for 15 years. Had a great reputation for handling a pitching staff, and as a result now as a manager very demanding of his catchers. And here is the catcher tonight. Ball 1 to Jeff Mathis. Mike Scioscia, in fact, has the record in Dodgers history for most games played at catcher. One and one.
Kind of make you wonder, when as a catcher, you're always talking about a guy that's smart, can call a game, handle a pitching staff, handle umpires. But then when he puts his gear on, he says he's putting on the tools of ignorance.
One ball, 2 strikes. I've heard Mike Scioscia say it, and he learned this from the Dodgers organization. And it's kind of a throwback to, your first job is behind the plate. Hitting is after that. But as he put it, the pitcher is the horse and you are the jockey.
Makes sense.
Shallow left center field. So the Angels, with the bases loaded, fail to score in the third. It is still 2-0. up in the bottom of the third inning, and let's update our Sprint You Call It question for tonight, where we asked you who will win the American League West. 59% impressed with the Texas Rangers. And how couldn't you be, especially if you just base it on what they have done against the Royals. And then the Angels at 17%. Only 8% think the Mariners are for real. Alex Gordon led off the bottom of the first inning with a single, but now Pinheiro has retired the next 5. And now 2 balls and no strikes on Brian Pena. He's hit in 5 straight games. Did not play last night. Brian has always respected the expertise of Jason Kendall. He may have spent some time with Jason before the game tonight, because Kendall has by far the most experience against Pinheiro. 49 career at-bats. The next closest Royal only has 13 at-bats. Kendall playing with the A's when Pinheiro was with the Mariners, so they saw each other quite a bit. Left center field, and Peter Borges, boy, he covers a lot of ground and moves with ease. 1 out in the third inning. Let's find Joe Goldberg.
Well, Chris gets back in there, and he's been playing a lot, in part because the Royals have been facing a lot of right-handed pitchers. He's started in 8 of the last 12 games, and it's interesting because his numbers, while they haven't overall come up for the year a lot, 'cause he started pretty low, they're starting to climb slowly. He has been hot lately in those last 8 games dating back to May 18th. He's batting .379 with a .455 on base percentage. That .455 in that stretch leads the Royals. I talked to him about that, and he said, of course, it helps playing every single day. It doesn't hurt. Keep things simple, nothing too drastic, and have some results, as you see right there. Gus?
Well, he adds to the on base percentage. The Angels really couldn't do anything with it, and by the time somebody picked it up, there was nobody available at first base.
Well, when you do that drag bunt, you're trying to pull the first baseman in, but on a drag bunt, he's got to leave this to the pitcher and the second baseman, and first baseman got to go to the bag. So you got to have some coverage there. But once Trumbo vacates, then there's no way that Pinheiro is going to beat Chris Guest to first base. So that's communication between the steers and Trumbo right there. That's great execution right there. Just hit the ball firm enough to get it by the mound, and there's a foot race after that.
Gets on base percentage now is at .331.
Interesting also, as Rusty Kuntz was throwing batting practice today, he laid down that exact bump, but it was a little bit further towards the pitcher. He wasn't happy with himself, much happier with where he laid that down. That is his 9th sacrifice bunt of the year, guys.
Down to second base, and it ends up in center field. So the Royals get a break instead of 2 outs, and the inning being over. Royals have runners at first and third and 1 out.
Well, this play right here, you wonder who Pinheiro was looking at, right? You want to go to the bag, but it's almost like he was throwing the exterior, the second baseman, and not the shortstop. The shortstop always going to have coverage on this play, so he didn't give himself enough time to pick up the shortstop coming to second base. You see right here, Ryan, he takes it, and then just right away he lets his ball go, and he never picks up anyone up the middle. You always taught to throw it to the bag, not to the fielder coming to the bag.
And now Alex, he singled to center in the first inning. 0-1. Alex had been 0 for 9 at the end of the last road trip, and now 3 out of his last 5, including a home run leading off the game yesterday. Broken bat and a base hit. Alex drives in a run. So 4 out of his last 6, and the bunt single turns into the first Royals run tonight.
When it boils down to him, it's not how hard you hit him, it's where you hit him. And a good fastball running away. You see his bat split right in half, but he kept the ball in the center of the field and he's strong enough to get it out into the outfield and gets trots home from third base.
So that is an expensive error by Joel Pinheiro. And now Cabrera gets it to the right side. Torrey Hunter was very deep in right field, so he has no shot for a play at the plate. And the Royals tie the game in the third inning.
Well, he's very deep in right field, and this ball's going to take a little while to get through the infield. It's just in the right spot. He picks up a curveball, and the ball rolls through all the way, and it just has no chance at home plate to get Escobar. And Alex Gordon never slowed up at second base. He just continued into third base. They just take a good secondary, lets the ball go by. Then he continues to third, and Torrey Hunter has no play at the plate or at third base.
So first and third now for Eric Hosmer as we look at tonight's league leaders. Brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. American League rookie RBIs. Hosmer behind JP Arancibia and Mark Trumbull. Those two guys have been with their teams all season long. Hosmer rather with the Royals in just his 23rd game. Grounded into a double play in the first inning, trying to avoid that here. And Pinheiro throwing a pitch away, hoping he would roll it up the middle. He went too far. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One thing about Eric Hosmer at the plate, Ryan, he's always aggressive on that first pitch fastball, and that was a good breaking ball. And as he plays more, then he'll start to be able to eliminate pitches. He'll know the pitchers that might want to start him off with off-speed pitch and the ones that want to come after him with fastballs. But right now, as a young hitter, he wants to always be ready for that fastball.
Mathis down to his knees, using his chest protector as a wall. Runners hold, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, that's a good effort by Jeff Mathis back there, but also you saw the adjustment that Hosmer made on that pitch. The first one he checked his swing on and come back with the same pitch, and he was able to hold up.
Line to left center field, slicing. But it splits Willits and Borges. The Royals take the lead as Gordon scores. Cabrera right behind him. And that's the third 2-run hit for Hosmer in the last 2 games.
But he laid off the breaking ball, and you can see where his fastball was running away from him. He just stayed right through this pitch. And ball, look at it back, comes right down off the shoulder. He just no loop in that swing, and he just tracked that ball going away. He just kept it going the way he wanted to go. That's the left center field. And you see Gordon comes in from third, and Cabrera has the easy score on that double. I mean, he really hit that ball well.
And now Francoeur to right field. Hosmer will hold as Hunter fires it back to the infield. Francoeur is 0 for 2. Well, because of a scoring rule that Frank does not like, in that you cannot assume a double play, not all of these runs will be considered unearned runs. However, the way the Angels feel right now with a comebacker to Pinheiro from Escobar earlier in this inning, that could have been an inning-ending double play. No runs score if that happens, but the Royals have put 4 on the board. And now Billy takes a strike with Hosmer at second base. Pinheiro does not feel at home at all at Kauffman Stadium, whether he is pitching for the Mariners, the Red Sox, the Cardinals, or the Angels. a 9 ERA in 3 starts at Kauffman Stadium. 1-1. Billy flied out to center field in the 2nd inning.
Well, it pretty much has turned this game around. It went from being up by 2 to being down by 2. And you, on those routine plays, just take your time, make a good throw, and you get in a hurry, you make bad throws, and this is what happens.
And now Billy muscles it over short. The Royals are going to have a 5-run inning.
Well, you look at this fastball going in on Billy's hands, and it really got up around the trademark, above the trademark a little bit, but Billy's strong enough to push it out in the left center field. And with 2 outs, Hosmer's not hesitating at all, coming around third base. But Pinheiro opened the door, and the Royals are walking right through it. And we've seen this a lot of times already this year. When they get a break, they seem to take not just a little bit advantage of it, but a lot of advantage of it.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, that's the best way to say it.
Betemit struck out in the 2nd inning. That's Pinheiro's only strikeout, and now he's ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. And this is the Royal with the longest current hitting streak at 6 games in a row. Laid off that pitch, and it's 1-2. Still 1-2. Pinheiro, when he first came up with the Mariners, he was a power arm, very inconsistent. But he was more of a strikeout pitcher. Then he went to the Cardinals in 09, and Dave Duncan got him to be a sinker ball pitcher. So the strikeouts have gone way down. The walks have gone way, way down. But the rate of ground balls has gone way up. We're talking about 2009, and in spring training Dave Duncan suggested the change. Pinheiro won 15 games that year and had the highest ground ball ratio per 9 innings in the National League. That pitch stayed up over Pinheiro, and as Torres flips to Ibar to end the inning. Royals send 9 to the plate, and they score 5. Jeff Francis has a 3-run lead as we look at tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Joel Pinheiro at 90, Jeff Francis at 89 so far. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo. It has not been an easy night at all for Francis, but he continues to hang in there. He throws a strike to Reggie Willits. Gave up 2 runs in the first through 35 pitches. On the ground to Betamete, and Reggie Willits is 0 for 2. Royals have some great young arms coming up from the minor leagues. Danny Duffy is already here, and we figure we'll see guys like Mike Montgomery, John Lamb down the road. But I would think, Frank, and Bob McClure has confirmed this, that you would want Danny Duffy to watch a guy like Jeff Francis, and in a game like this where base runners are all over the place, but he just continues to pitch. He's going to get a ground ball here from Ibar, and there are 2 down in the 4th inning. So when you don't have your best stuff in the 1st inning, keep pitching, and now Francis has a lead. Buck Night and Fireworks Friday coming up for Game 2 with Minnesota at 7:10. Hot dogs, small Pepsi products, and peanuts for just $1 each. And then fireworks after the game presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi.
Well, finishing a thought, when in Nate Adcock's start against Kobe Lewis, both pitchers struggled early, but Kobe Lewis was able to figure it out, pitch through it, and get deep where Nate wasn't able to do that. So that just gets back to your point that you can't let the first couple innings dictate how long you pitch. You just got to pitch through those tough innings, like you said, and that's where that's sort of mound character comes from, and your mental toughness comes from. You just don't let the game just blow up on you, and you're sitting on the bench after the 2nd inning.
2 balls, 2 strikes on his Turris. I go back a few starts ago for Francis. Remember against Detroit, they scored 3 runs, 5 hits, the first 6 batters of the game. He was down 3-0 right away, but he continued to compete and ended up with a complete game. Didn't allow any runs after the first. Retired 20 of the last 23. So it is like going to school for the young pitchers when Francis is on the mound. Escobar calls off Getz, and that is a 9-pitch 4th inning for Francis with the lead. For the 4th consecutive start, Joel Pinheiro is going for his 100th career victory, and he had a 2-0 lead until 1 out in the 3rd inning when he committed a throwing error. The floodgates opened for the Royals, and they scored 5. 2 of the runs were unearned because of his error. However, if he makes a good throw down to second base, he gets out of that inning without allowing any runs. Ryan Pena actually began the inning with a fly out to center field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Then Chris Getz had a bunt single. Escobar with the comebacker to Pinheiro that could have ended the inning, but he threw it into center field. Gordon drove in a run. Cabrera drove in a run. Hosmer drove in 2, and then Butler drove in a run. Up the middle, Ibar picks it off, recovers after bobbling, and makes an on-target throw to Trumbo. Every time tonight Brian Pena leads off the inning with an out, the Royals then score 5 runs. Every time. See if they can do it again. Inside to Chris Getz. 3 out of 4 in the first 2 games with the Angels. Doesn't have a lot of at-bats against Joel Pinheiro, but the at-bats that he has 3 out of 4. Two and 1. Borges in left center field makes the catch. There are 2 down. This game so far is similar to yesterday's game. In the first 3 innings, it was all Royals. 6-3 lead at the end of 3, and the Royals hit 2 home runs. In the last 3 innings, however, it was the Angels that outscored the Royals 6-2, and they hit 4 home runs.
It's those late inning runs. They get you all the time. I mean, that's what you want to add on 7 through 9 if you're the offense, but you don't want the opposition to add on. That's when you want your bullpen to shut them down.
Torrey Hunter with a 2-run home run in the 9th inning against Joaquim Soria. Escobar offered at that pitch, so it's no balls, 2 strikes. It would be wise for Aaron Crow to spend as much time as possible with Joaquim Soria, as Aaron Crow, for the moment, is the Royals closer. 10-pitch inning for Pinheiro as he gets the Royals 1-2-3 in the 4th. Jeff Francis gave up 2 runs in the first inning. Now 3 scoreless innings for Francis, and the Royals came up with 5 in the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, they just took advantage of a mistake. You know, that's all you need when the game is tight like that. The first team to make a mistake, open the door, then they usually pay for it. And the Royals have made the Angels pay for it to this point. Routine plays, Ryan. You got to make them if you're going to win. A strike. Torrey Hunter has walked
And struck out. 1 out of 6 altogether in his career against Francis, and he gets that call. So Hunter a little frustrated with the home plate umpire Field and Colbreth in his zone, although according to Fox Tracks those are right on the edge. In fairness to Hunter, we do point out from time to time that Fox Tracks measures right in front of home plate. So that's where the balls cross home plate, but there's still a good 20-24 inches before that ball reaches the catcher's glove. So it might look a lot lower once it reaches Brian Pena's mitt. Hosmer in foul ground takes care of Torrey Hunter. So Francis 3 1/3 scoreless after giving up 2 runs in the first inning. He gave up 8 base runners in the first 3 innings. And now he's retired 5 in a row. Alberto Callaspo is singled, fly to left, 1 for 2 tonight, and 10 for 18 against the Royals this year. Royals getting Sean O'Sullivan and minor league pitcher Will Smith last year for Callaspo, and that was a good trade for the Angels right away. He hit .333 in August, but then he hit .132 in September. Three and 0.
You know, that was pretty hard to explain. He could be so hot and go so cold, and that might be a reason why guys don't play every day sometimes, because that's what guys who play every day are able to do. They're able to minimize those slumps and keep the average going in the right direction.
Right center field, long run Francoeur. It is slicing, and it slices right back into him. And Francoeur makes a nice running play, 2 outs.
And that's pretty good distance for Alberto Callaspo, the opposite field. Normally he's just trying to hit a line drive over there, but Francoeur gets a nice read on it, and that takes a nice route. And like you said, Ryan, when a right-hander hits it like that, it slices back and makes that play a little bit easier for you.
And a big breaking ball for a strike to Mark Trumbo, who has singled twice against Francis tonight, including a single with an RBI in the first inning. Good pitch, 0-2. Popped up. So make it 4 consecutive scoreless innings for Jeff Francis. fifth inning, and here is tonight's AT trivia question. As we wrap up the month of May, who is the Royals' all-time wins leader in May? Paul Splittorff, Brett Saberhagen, Dennis Leonard, Mark Gubiza. Third time through for the Royals. Alex Gordon has 2 singles. He has scored a run. He has driven in a run, his 30th of the year. Alex now is 6 out of 9 with a couple of doubles against Joel Pinheiro. So Pinheiro's movement on his pitches works well with Alex's swing. Left field. Tough time of night to find the ball, but Willett zeroes in, 1 away. Coming up on Saturday, that'll be game 3 with the Minnesota Twins. A 6:10 first pitch, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a Willie Wilson bobblehead presented by Farmland. For a list of all Royals promotions, go to royals.com/promotions. Hit hard to center. Borge is back, and he makes the catch. You had made a point earlier, Frank, about Melky Cabrera and his consistency with hitting second all season long, and just looking at the official numbers, he has batted second every time he has been in the lineup with the exception of 1 game. And he has batted in 1 spot more than any other Royal in any other spot. So there's been some moving parts around him, but in 50 of his 51 games, Melky Cabrera has batted number 2.
Everything stays the same. You don't have to worry about who's in front of you, who's behind you. You know what your responsibilities are in the number 2 spot. Only thing you have to think about a little bit is who's leading the game off. But other than that, you're free to do pretty much what you want. And that you can swing away, you can bunt. It just allows him to be a little more versatile, a little more comfortable, because he knows every day when he comes to the ballpark where he's going to be hitting.
2 balls, 1 strike on Eric Hosmer. Melky 1 for 3 tonight with a run scored and an RBI. Eric Hosmer is 1 for 2 with a 2-run double and a run scored. He has 6 RBIs in this series with the Angels, and he has another base hit. Kind of fought that one off, and the Royals have a runner at first with 2 outs. Well, what do you think, Frank?
Wow, that Saves won a Cy Young one year. I'm going to go with Saves.
You're going to resist the temptation of in the house? Oh man, rookie mistake.
I'm trying to do a little bit better thinking job with Al. Like he's not always predictable that way.
Gubiza now the television analyst of the Angels alongside Victor Rojas. So a couple of Kansas City connections. Victor grew up in KC with his father playing for the Royals. So they are pulling for the Angels. They are following the Angels, but they still have close ties to this area and keep a close eye on the Royals. Jeff Francoeur is grounded out to third and flied out to right. How about that save by Mathis, and somehow he unloads a throw down to first base.
It's really not a bad play for him to come right up throwing, because a lot of times that base runner take that one step towards second base, and that's when you can pick him off. But he just comes right up, even off the wrong foot.
Hosmer runs, and it's in the dirt. Hosmer slides, but no throw, and a stolen base, his second. Only the Royals 6 stolen base in their last 18 games. They had 9 in their series against the Angels to begin the season.
Well, you can see right there, they're just paying no attention to him at all. And I think this is where the Royals plan to be more aggressive rather than having that one guy who can straight out steal bases like Gerard Dyson. They just sort of look for areas that they can pick apart on the pitcher that they can take advantage of, and then they'll run pretty much anybody in that situation.
Up the middle, Ibar can't get it. So a 2-out single, a stolen base. Jeff Francoeur gets his 31st RBI, and the Royals lead by 4.
You got to get yourself in scoring position, and Eric Hosmer does this when he's still second base against Jeff Mathis and Panera right there. So he puts himself in scoring position, and there's a base hit that forced up the middle by Francoeur, just under the glove of Ibar at shortstop, and Hosmer was able to score. So that's what you call a manufactured run.
Francoeur putting that ball in play when he was down 1 ball 2 strikes. Now Billy Butler, who has driven in a run tonight. That rides inside for ball 1. Billy has hit in 5 straight. It was his 20th RBI of the year, and inching closer to 300 at 294. Line towards right, slicing away from Hunter, who makes a great play. It doesn't matter whether it's center field or right field. That's Torrey Hunter out there. The Gold Glove caliber catch. However, the Royals add a run and lead by 4. In the field, Torrey Hunter just made a great play for the final out of the 5th inning, but at the plate, he is hitless. Coming up on Sunday, another Family Fun Day Sunday. 110 game with Minnesota, and the first 8,000 kids 14 and under will receive this Slugger Kids pillowcase, courtesy of Fox Sports Kansas City. So come on out, bring the kids. Borges drops down a bunt. Betamit, and he threw it off of Borges. There was really nothing that Betamit could do with that angle.
Well, they just rely on just getting the ball down, getting it toward the line, and hope the third baseman can really mishandle the ball. And Francis didn't break for this ball. Got caught going the other way, but did clear ground. Whoa. But Hosmer did a good job. This ball hits Borges, but Hosmer does a good job of not getting tangled up. He rolled right out of there. Smart play on Eric Hosmer's part.
Where's Borges on the baseline, Frank?
Oh boy. They could have argued that one easily. But a lot of first basemen, they would have kept that hand in there and had a collision, but Hosmer right away he realized that, hey, this is not going to work too good. So he rolls right out of there and avoids any contact at all.
Two strikes on Bobby Wilson. Angels with 2 runs, 4 hits in the first inning. They had 8 base runners in the first 3 innings. And Jeff Francis, after giving up 2 in the first, now 4 consecutive scoreless. Borges runs. Pena's throw very close, just a little bit behind. Borges has his 6th stolen base. He has great speed, but he's been gunned down 4 times.
And that's really not probably reading a slide step, but he gets a good jump. And you see Brian drop. He kind of dropped his arm a little bit. That's forcing his ball to run more toward down the line. And I think that's one of those things when you're trying to be too quick. You know, just better just get it and make a good hard throw over the top. But 2 throws and run back into the runner.
Left center field, long run for Alex Gordon, and Alex runs it down. So Wilson flies out to the left side, but it's still a productive out and gets Borges to third base. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach. Our associate producer is Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Jeff Mathis, left field, that's over Alex's head and up against the screen. Borges scores. It is 6-3.
You can see this a curveball that stayed up, and that's one of the few that Jeff Francis left up today. It's just up out in the middle of the plate, and Jeff Francis liked the ball middle end down, and he gets all of this one, and the ball hits off the base of the wall, got by Alex in left field.
Reggie Willits is really struggling. A strikeout and a ground out tonight, and just 1 out of 20, which calculates out to 0-5-0. 1-1. The Angels took a run at a couple of big-time free agents during the offseason. One of them, Carl Crawford, hoping that he would play left field. Crawford signed with Boston. They also took a run at Adrian Beltre to get him to play third base, but he signed with the Rangers. 2 balls, 1 strike. So left field with Vernon Wells. They made a trade with the Blue Jays. He is on the disabled list. Bobby Abreu and Willits playing in left. Blake Wood warming up as Francis is moving closer to 100 pitches. Popped up. Hosmer, foul ground, makes the play. Mathis holds at second base.
You know, Eric Hosmer is a second baseman's best friend. I mean, he saves you so much running. He covers so much ground. He's so sure-handed on those pop-ups. So the ground at the second baseman will a lot of times have to try to make this play, but not a lot of first basemen can cover the ground that he covers and look so comfortable underneath the pop-up.
Eric Ibar opened the game with a double. Came around to score. The Angels with 2 in the first, the Royals with 5 in the third. one in the 5th, and now the Angels have scored here in the 6th. Missed a changeup. One and one. Francis has only had one bad inning, and that was the 2-run first, and he threw 35 pitches, but he hasn't thrown 20 pitches in an inning since. As few as 9 in the 4th. And now 12 in this inning with 2 outs and a runner at second base. On the ground to Betemit. And that's the inning. Angels get 1 run to make it a 3-run game.
The Royals are up by 3 as we go to our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Nancy Willick from Lexington, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Nancy will win $800. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Nancy will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
All right, Nancy, you have Wilson Betemit, Brian Pena, and Chris Getz. Betemit is 0 for 2 tonight and 0 for 5 against Joel Pinheiro. Pulled right to his Turris. 1 out. It hasn't been one of those great games for Pinheiro as far as ground ball outs. That is just his 7th out of 16 outs, so fewer than half of his outs have been on the ground. Royals with 6 runs, 8 hits. Pinheiro hasn't walked anyone. That's nothing new. He has 8 walks this year in 45 and a third innings. And he only has 1 strikeout, so he's been using his defense all night.
He's been hurt by a variety of ways. The ground ball up the middle, made a couple nice pitches, the jam shots that fell for base hits, but that's part of a rally. You need all those to score 5 runs in a game.
Right field, the ball is not carrying tonight like it was last night. So Brian Pena's out in a fly ball to right, and there are 2 down. The winds look like they are tied to the flagpoles, and you don't hear this very often when they announce the game time temperature. But tonight, 82 degrees, and the winds are calm, so not even a registered wind or even a breeze. Or as Mike Sweeney used to say, the wind is blowing straight down.
Texas can use a few days like that when the wind blows straight down.
Past Kayaspo and Ibar with Getz speed. No chance. Second infield hit for Getz tonight. Second straight 2-hit game for Chris Getz.
They're getting a variety of base hits here. He just beats this one down in the ground. It just takes off. Looks like Ibar didn't get a good grip, but he wouldn't have had a play on this one at all, Ryan. He had to come in and he had to circle this ball, and he just realized there was no play.
Getz has 37 hits this year. 9 have been infield hits.
But it's kind of nice that he's getting to play a long stretch of games. I think this is when you find out what a player can really do. You just put him in there, let him go, and you can see him under all conditions. And he's not only getting base hits to left field and the infield hit variety, but he also pulled a couple balls that you hadn't seen all year. So maybe that confidence is getting more and more as he plays.
And he would be more closer to the prototype of a leadoff hitter with his speed. But because of a low on base percentage earlier this year, the Royals just needed to get somebody on base at the top of the order. So Alex Gordon moves there. That's worked out for the Royals. It's worked out for Alex. 1 ball, 1 strike on Escobar. But if Getz could get it going and they could put him at the top of the order, and you could just add Alex's bat
in the
middle of the order, man. Escobar was at the plate for what is probably the play of the game so far. With Getz at first base, as he is now, in 1 out, Escobar hit a 1-hopper back to Pinheiro. If he makes a good throw to second, it's an inning-ending double play, no runs. But Pinheiro threw it to Peter Borges in center field, and the Royals scored 5. Eventually, Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, Billy Butler driving in runs. Hosmer with a 2-run hit.
Well, you have to think with Chris Getz on first in this situation, he has to go at some point. So this plays back in the 3rd inning, as you were talking about, Ryan, and almost like he just didn't pick up anyone. He just threw the ball into no man's land when he should have just thrown right to the bag and got himself a double play, and the score would have been 2-0 at that point.
Pinheiro, normally a good fielding pitcher, drafted by the Mariners in '97, as he grew up in Puerto Rico, and when he was drafted he was also a shortstop. Back to Pinheiro. He's not going to mess with second base this time. He'll go to first, and that's the inning. by 3. There's the French Quarter. Jeff Francoeur has an RBI tonight. Pepsi Max is the official soft drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. You'll never sacrifice taste for 0 calories again with Pepsi Max. Look for these special Frank White Pepsi Max cans. That's your neighborhood Hy-Vee. New look, same great taste. Pepsi Max. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Jeff Francis, over 100 pitches, stays on for the 7th with his Turris, Hunter, and Callaspo coming up. We were talking about this earlier, and how Francis, no matter what happens, just continues to compete. And it did not look like he would be going 7 innings tonight after giving up 2 runs, 4 hits in the first, and 8 base runners, including a couple of walks, over the first 3 innings.
Well, that's being a veteran pitcher. That's knowing that you just got to keep the game where it's at and give your offense a chance to come back, and that's what he was able to do after giving up those 2 runs in the first inning. And then right now he's sitting on 105 pitches, and that's really not a lot in terms of number of pitches, but you'd like to see him get through the 7th inning with that number.
Escobar picks it off, throws to Hosmer in time. So that'll give Francis and the Royals a lift. Keep that speed off the bases. 1 away.
Just got him reaching a little bit up the middle, and that's what makes a nice play on this one. This ball came up real nice for him. He didn't have to reach down for it. It made that turn a lot easier. So he caught that one just above the knees. Just a matter of just getting the footwork together and making a nice throw to first base to get a fast runner.
And now Torrey Hunter hitless tonight, thinking about laying one down.
Let me watch infielders, especially your middle infielders, and they have to make a play like that. I think the first thing you look at their feet. Once they got to move their feet quick to get to the ball, but once they catch the ball, they got to move their feet even quicker to get in position to throw. And I think the guys that can speed up and slow down the best are the guys that make your best infielders.
Kevin Seitzer said something I've never forgotten. He said, "You field with your feet, you receive with your hands."
That's perfect.
I remember when Ray Sanchez was here, and I use this example all the time because it's the best one I've seen firsthand. But because he had such good feet at shortstop, it seemed like he went the whole year without having a bad hop.
It's all balance, and when you have good feet, you create your own hop.
Grounded to Hosmer, down to a knee, and then down to the bag. So Torrey Hunter is 0 for 3. Stay connected to the Royals on Twitter by following @Royals. For breaking news, instant game discussion, and special discounts, there's no better place. Follow @Royals today. Not tomorrow. Today. Or tonight. Alberto Callaspo is 1 for 3. He could be 3 out of 3. Royals have made 2 good plays in the outfield off of him. Gordon in left, Francoeur in right. 1 ball, 1 strike. We were talking about the Angels making a run at Adrian Beltre during the offseason. That didn't pan out. And so the Angels again tried to use Brandon Wood, their eternal prospect, at third. That didn't pan out again, so they put him on waivers, and now Brandon Wood is playing for the Pirates. So Callaspo playing at third base. That was in on the hands enough. And how about Jeff Francis? He gets the Royals through 7, and he has a 3-run lead. tourism. This is the world-famous Gateway Arch, the tallest national monument in the United States, 630 feet tall. Commemorates the nation's western expansion. You can take a tram ride to the top for a bird's eye view of St. Louis and neighboring Illinois. It's 4 minutes up and about 3.5 down. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. So Jeff Francis makes it through 7, hands the ball off to the Royals bullpen. That'll be in the top of the 8th inning. The Angels do the same thing here in the bottom of the 7th. And it's Hisanori Takahashi in the Chevy call to the pen. So Joel Pinheiro will have to wait another turn to try and win his 100th game. The Royals getting 6 runs against him in 6 innings. A couple of those runs were unearned. And now Takahashi on for the 24th time, an ERA over 5. He has given up 10 walks and 4 home runs in 21 in the 3rd innings. Top of the lineup, Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, and Eric Hosmer. Takahashi, 10 seasons with the Yomiuri Giants, where he was a teammate with Hideki Matsui. His trademark pitch is a screwball. That was more of a curveball or a slider. 0-1 on Alex.
Yeah, screwball lefties, they don't usually like to throw that screwball to a left-handed hitter. They want to save it to a right-hander. So they got to have another pitch, whether it be a slider or curveball that they can use when they can't use that pitch.
Takahashi, very typical of a Japanese pitcher. At some point in the motion there is going to be a hesitation. Kind of slows down there. Then another hesitation. Alex lays down a bunt foul. The Yomiuri Giants in Japan are the equivalent of the Yankees here in the States. They get the most exposure. They would be considered the large market team. Most championships in Japan. Well, you really have to just kind of hang in there with this guy. I mean, there's no flow to his motion. Start, stop, restart, stop, and then follow through.
It's almost like he's trying to get his balance point at the top of his leg kick and then push off. He gets right here to the top, hesitates, drop, and drive.
It seems simple, Frank, but I would think that second hesitation he has would take a lot of leg strength to just stop and pose for a moment and then finish his motion.
Well, that back leg, that's one that's going to drive you. That's what you use to drive the ball to home plate. And sometimes in all one motion, you get a little bit more on the pitch, but he might be looking more for deception too in this situation.
Alex gets it through the right side. He has 5 hits in the first 2 games with the Angels, 3 tonight. Leadoff man on in the 7th. So Alex has had a good day at the plate. He's also responsible for our defensive play of the game. Brought to you by the Home Depot. And we go back to the 3rd inning against Alberto Callaspo.
Well, this is a nice running catch over his shoulder there in the left center field. And he just wheels and throws the ball to third base all in one motion. So just being a heads up play on both ends, receiving the ball and then getting it back to the infield.
Melky Cabrera moves over to the right side, and he takes a hack at the first pitch. Line to center his first time up. That was a good swing against Pinheiro. Single to right with an RBI in the 3rd. Came around to score. And he's flied out to center field. Left field. Reggie Willits is there. Alex back to the bag. And Willits gets it back quick enough for Alex to hold at first base. So 1 on 1 out. Eric Hosmer comes to the plate, and you'll have a chance to meet Eric Hosmer here at Kauffman Stadium. He'll meet with fans and sign autographs at the Majestic Team Store here at the ballpark on Saturday from noon to 1. So you can make it a doubleheader by catching that. And then the Royals and the Minnesota Twins at 6:10. Royals have a stolen base tonight, and it was Hosmer in the 5th inning. Royals running game has flattened out lately. A lot of that has to do with game situation and some of the scores, but still only 6 stolen bases in their last 18 games. They were at a crazy pace to begin the year. 46 stolen bases in their first 36. So well more than 1 stolen base per game, but now things beginning to even out. At the knees for strike 1.
You know, the league always sort of catches up. Everybody got to see what you're doing and who's doing it. Then they sit down and get a game plan for that particular game, and they know the guys that run the most, and they want to make sure they take care of those guys, but don't neglect the other guys, because they take advantage of your weaknesses. If you don't pay attention, you don't vary your moves, that's when guys that you don't expect to steal.
That one gets through Trumbo up the right field line. Again, a chance for an inning double play. A play is not made, and the Royals have runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. That is the Angels' 2nd error tonight.
Well, this is where Trumbo's really more worried about throwing this ball to second base rather than catch it. So he's trying to turn and catch it at the same time. It pulls you off the ball and goes through your legs. So you got to stay square to the ball. Then you got to catch it first. Yeah, he gets on that leg. He wants to wheel and throw to second, and that ball gets through his legs. Creates a 2nd and 3rd situation.
And the Angels running out of time, which is 6 outs left at the plate. They'll bring the infield in for Jeff Francoeur.
With the Royals being up by 3 in this situation, you don't really look for them to go on contact right here. This situation here where you might want to make the ball go through the infield before you run Alex to home plate. You don't want to run him into an out. You don't want to run him into a catcher with a 3-run lead.
Fouled away, 0-1. In the 5th inning, Francoeur drove in his 31st with a single. He was in a 1-ball, 2-strike count. He's trying to make contact and singled to center field. Driving in Hosmer, who is standing at second base. Alex Gordon is at third. Royals 5 out of 6 with runners in scoring position. Left field should be deep enough. Willits will play it to third base, and the Royals lead 7-3. Francoeur drives in his 2nd tonight. Billy Butler has driven in a run. Angels going to set up a Takahashi Betemit matchup with an open base. Billy down to first. Sosha preferred a Takahashi Betamete over a Takahashi Billy Butler. So Betamete slides over to the right side. He is a better hitter from the left side, but it's not a huge drop off. Still batting .265 as a right-hand batter. One and 0. For 3 tonight. He has hit in 6 in a row. Broken bat. Iaspo will go to the bag in front of Hosmer, and that's the inning. And for the second time tonight, the Angels fail to turn to double play. Will take us around the American League. Tampa Bay beating Texas. That ends the Rangers' 3-game winning streak. That's good news for the Angels. Detroit is in front of Minnesota. Tigers have won 2 in a row. They will not gain ground on Cleveland. They put an end to a 2-game losing streak. Chicago has defeated Boston. Red Sox and Rays were tied in the East. New York at Oakland. 2-0 Yankees. Baltimore at Seattle. The Orioles, after sweeping the Royals, have fallen on hard times. They have lost 4 in a row. Chevy called to the bullpen, and it's Blake Wood. After 7 innings from Jeff Francis, he gave up 2 runs in the first inning, 8 runners in the first 3 innings. But over his final 6, gave up only 1 run.
And that's a sign of maturity as a pitcher. Just know that that first inning doesn't always have to turn into a blowout, so he was able to keep them zeros on the board and give his offensive chance to come back, and they took advantage of a couple errors by the Angels to get a 7-3 lead.
And the most recent error was committed by the leadoff hitter here, Mark Trumbo. If the Angels turn 2 double plays tonight in the 3rd inning and in the 7th, they lead right now 3-1. Mike Scioscia's team failed to turn a double play in the 3rd. That was very expensive. Cost the Angels 5 runs. And then in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Angels did not turn what could have been another inning double play. The Royals got a run out of that. Trumbo, 2 hits and an RBI tonight. 2 balls, 1 strike. Got away from him. Blake Wood turning away in disgust. 3-1. May have been ball 4. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The Angels last night in the 8th and 9th innings combined scored 5 runs.
Ryan, with Soria being used in selective situations now, then the bullpen right now is going to be tested in these late innings, and you can look at it as a learning experience, but everybody's going to be asked to step up and do a little bit more, and that's just something that at this point they haven't experienced. So it'll be interesting to see how they go through it.
Well, that's just the way the game works. That's the way the baseball gods operate. You make a change, a dramatic change, and you take an all-star closer out and you put a rookie in, and it seems like it doesn't take very long for that rookie to be tested. So don't be surprised if it's tonight.
Well, that's true, and listen to Aaron Crow talk. He's just going to take it like it's 3 outs. He's not going to look at it like I've got to close the game out, and he's not going to put any additional pressure on himself. And I think that's a good approach. I just need to get 3 outs, and we'll just worry about the other stuff later.
Peter Borges led off the 6th inning with a bunt single, stole a base, and came around to score. He is 1 out of 3. He is a big candidate to strike out with 59 this year, 3rd most in the American League, and he is down 0-2.
See a lot of the guys with good speed, Ryan, and they strike out a lot and don't get on base a lot, and they all down on the end of the bat, and they let the bat head go. Why just get a big bat and just choke up and just slap the ball? Just go for contact and use your legs.
Give the Royals a lot of credit there, as Alex Gordon was shallow in left field, so he's able to make that play on Peter Borges. And now the Angels will send a pinch hitter to the plate. Bobby Wilson is the scheduled hitter. It'll be Russell Branyan. Branyan yesterday was the DH. 1 hit in 5 at-bats. It was a single. Oh, 0-1. One ball, 1 strike. Russell Branyan making the Arizona Diamondbacks out of spring training. He was a non-roster player. He was number 75 in spring training, but as is the case every year, every team, somebody just forces their way on the roster. Branyan did that, but didn't give the Diamondbacks much once he made the club. He appeared in 31 games. He hit .210, only hit 1 home run, and now with the Angels, just 2 out of 16 with a couple of singles.
Probably been years since he's had a number that big in spring training.
Trumbo's running, a strikeout, and Trumbo has a stolen base. Don't figure he's the type of guy that will take off, but that's his 5th.
Well, he gets a real good jump to start with, and then you watch the end of this play. Pena makes a throw to Escobar. He didn't stay with the tag. If he stays with the tag, and Trumbo goes off the bag, and then you got a chance to stay with him. So just go ahead and ride the tag out. And so he didn't stay with it, and they had a chance to get him out right there.
Good eyes, Frank. 2 hits and an RBI for Jeff Mathis. 0-2. Royals hoping to improve to 4-2 against the Angels this year. Before that, they had lost 20 of their last 25 to the Angels. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Talked about this yesterday afternoon, but the Angels have been tough on the Royals no matter where they play. They've won 28 of the last 38 here. And Mike Scioscia's team this year has been a good road team. 16 wins away from Anaheim, and that's the most in the American League. Good hard slider down and away. Mathis wouldn't pull the trigger, and it is 1-2.
Well, the Angels do have good starting pitching. I think that's kind of where it starts, and they just have to worry about getting their guys back and start scoring some runs. But if they scored more runs, they'd definitely be in first place in the West if you look at how their pitchers are pitched.
Angels are 3rd in the American League in ERA. There's Irvin Santana, and the Royals gave him a bad time yesterday. He had been pitching very well, but he gave up 6 runs in 6 innings. Tonight, the Royals scored 6 runs in 6 innings against Joel Pinheiro. Hard slider got him. Leadoff walk does not come back to hurt Blake Wood in the 8th.
At Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals lead the Angels 7-3. Boulevard Royals Live is coming up from Rivals. Jeff Montgomery and I will be talking about Chris Getz's night, the bounce-back ability of Jeff Francis on the mound, highlights, reaction from Ned Yost and the Royals, and if it's a safe situation, and as of right now it's not, I think we might talk a little Aaron Crow as well. That and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
All right, thank you, Joel. It's Trevor Bell here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The interesting note about Trevor Bell, and maybe people watching tonight remember on WGN TV, Bozo the Clown. His late grandfather, Bob Bell, was Bozo the Clown for 25 years. And when Trevor was drafted in the first round by the Angels in 2005, the Chicago Tribune headline was, "Prospect has big shoes to fill."
Yeah, I grew up on Bozo the Clown. My kids love Bozo the Clown.
Well, that was Trevor's grandfather. That entertainment rubbed off on Trevor when he was a kid. He was in some commercials, and he did a Hot Wheels commercial. I mean, every kid wanted to be in a Hot Wheels commercial. Remember that show, That 70s Show? His mother Barbara was a casting director for That 70s Show, so an entertainment-minded family to say the least. 2-2 on Brian Pena. First round pick of the Angels in 2005. He was a sandwich pick, a compensation pick for the Angels losing Troy Percival. Brian tonight is 0 for 3. 3-2. Chris Getz next, and then Alcides Escobar. Big inning tonight for the Royals, a 5-run third inning. That could have been a 0-run third inning. The Angels failed to turn a double play. The Royals added a run in the 5th, and when the Angels didn't turn a double play in the 7th, they didn't get 1 out on a play in the 7th. Should have gotten 2. The Royals added another run. On the flip side, Jeff Francis has gone 7 innings, gave up only 3 runs, 2 of those in the first. So he really put it together over his next 6 innings. Still 3-2 on Pena. And now Bell must have done something to himself after that last pitch, because catcher Jeff Mathis, Angels trainer, and Mike Scioscia come running out of the dugout. Looked like he cut his thumb.
It looks like a fingernail cut.
Ow.
Getting it in there pretty good.
Yeah. That thing's bleeding worse now than it was when they got out there.
This will be interesting to see if that stops it, you know. Just
Oh, it's bleeding? Well, here, let me stab that thing 11 times. That didn't take very long. The way the Angels jumped out of the dugout, that must have been bothering him before he even took the mound, because the Angel trainer came out and knew exactly what to do. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. I'm trying to think, unless he's got some sort of a. Yeah, Frank and I are up here twisting our wrists and our arms, trying to think, well, what grip would cause that kind of friction on the outside of the thumb? Unless maybe it has nothing to do with pitching at all. Kevin Shank, the conspiracy theorist, has one, which I will not pass along. Eleven pitches from Bell to Brian Pena in this at bat. Looking at Fox Tracks, I think Brian would like to have pitch number 10 back.
That's the only one that he looked like he can do some damage with. I mean, that's great at bat.
Reggie Willits in left field. Brian is 0 for 4 tonight. Another afternoon game tomorrow, but it's a 3:10 start, just like it was yesterday. And Felipe Paulino, who was so good for the Royals in his debut in Texas, will go up against Tyler Chatwood. Rookie Tyler Chatwood, who is 3-2. Ivy Royals Live with Joel is at 2:30. Then the first pitch is at 3:10. This is a makeup game for the Royals after the rain out in Detroit. That's probably an easier play for Alberto Callaspo. Right?
Right. But he's got to be aggressive. He's got to get down in there, and he's got to call the pitcher off, and that's the only way Bell's not going to take that ball. So once it goes up, once Chris beats it in the ground and goes up, then he's got to be calling right away. But he allowed Bell to get in front of him. And it looked like it might have been a base hit either way, but he has the best chance of making a play at first base. But you got to communicate.
Third infield hit for Getz tonight in his 10th season. And a slider for a strike to Alcides Escobar. No hits tonight, but that doesn't mean he hasn't had an impact at the plate. We go back to the third inning. A runner at first, one out, a ground ball back to Pinheiro. Should have been an inning double play. Pinheiro threw it into center field, and the Royals turned that into a 5-run inning. And how big of an impact has that had? Well, the Royals lead by 4 right now.
They let it pick up another insurance run right here. It's a good combination for a hit and run. It forces Escobar to focus more on putting the ball in play. Swing get a little bit longer at times, but Bell's up.
That's a good looking swing. Getz is running. Borges runs it down. Getz has to retouch, and he's back to second with 2 outs. So a good swing and tough luck for Escobar. 2 down. And now Alex. He has had a busy night, both at the plate and in the field. He is our Chevrolet plays of the game.
Well, he got it going early in the first inning with a base hit up the middle. Then he's got an RBI single back to center field. And then a base hit right there. And he just had a good job in terms of scoring runs. Scored a run also, Ryan, in 3 hits. Just looks good and looked comfortable in that leadoff spot.
Made a nice play on Alberto Callaspo on defense in the 3rd inning. That was our defensive play of the game. Outside from Trevor Bell. So Alex has really turned things around on this homestand. He finished the Texas series 0 for 9. Now he's 5 for his last 8 and batting at .288.
It's interesting how when I talked to him before the game, he said that in the 3rd spot he felt comfortable right from the beginning, and he got off to a great start, and then he went into a little rut there where things weren't going well, and he said by just going to the number 1 spot, it felt put him right back in the same frame of mind he was when the season started, and he's just been consistent ever since he's gone into the 1st and the number 1 spot.
Getz is running. It's a strike. The throw is on a hop, and Ibar applies the tag on Getz's leg, and then Getz hits the bag hard. May have hurt his left shoulder. Chris Getz appears to be all right. I thought he had hit the bag trying to steal second base, but his shoulder actually went into Eric Ibar. Going into a head-first slide, caught stealing for just the second time. And now Blake Wood, with a 4-run lead, has Reggie Willits, Eric Ibar, and Myceres Turris. Willits just 1 out of 21. He will move over to the left side of the plate. A strike. Royals tonight are going for their 18th win at home. A little tardy on that fastball, wasn't he? No balls, 2 strikes. Yikes.
Yeah, Ibar better be alive in that next circle.
Well, you said it before, Frank. Common characteristic of a struggling hitter: late on the fastball, too quick on the off speed.
Yeah, just not on any pitch, and just mainly just not being aggressive at the plate. You're just sort of waiting for the ball to get there and just want to punch at it. But even when you hit it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Willits flinched. Field and Colbreth flinched, but no call. 2-2.
Yeah, Blake Wood's got a lot of run on his fastball tonight. That's good 2-seamers. Just doing a great job of running right there. Well, they flinched on that one. I would go back for it again and see if I can get the call on this next one. And this is where the catcher can kind of help you out with the umpire.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The swinging like that, Ibar probably feels like he needs to come on in the Royals on next circle until this at bat's over.
I'm not laughing because I could do any better, believe me. But man, it's 2 foul balls late on a fastball with your teammate not far away. Still 2-2. Jeff Francis going for his 2nd win and his first ever win against the Angels. He has always pitched well against the Angels, this being his 4th career start tonight, but he has never gotten a decision. He's only given up 4 earned runs in 14 innings this year against the Angels. One of the biggest problems for Jeff, going back to last year with the Rockies, is something that is totally out of his control, and that would be run support. But he got plenty of that tonight with a 5-run 3rd inning and 7 total runs for the Royals. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Angels scored 2 runs in the first and then just 1 run in the next 7 innings. Well, Willits is not swinging the bat well right now, but he is fighting off every strike that Blake Wood throws. He's worked a full count. If he could draw a walk, the Angels would love to have his speed at first. Aaron Crow warming up in the bullpen. Another foul ball. Got him looking. 3 strikeouts for Blake Wood and 3 in a row, going back to his last 2 outs in the 8th inning.
Well, I think the Royals did a good job here. Blake Wood and Brian Pena, they realized they had Willits beat with the fastball, so they just stayed with it and finally got the call. He saw a lot of pitches, fouled off a lot of pitches, but he just stayed with it and didn't slow the ball down on him and just got themselves a strikeout right there.
And now a strike to Ibar, 1 for 4. He opened the game with a double and came around to score. On the ground to Hosmer. He backs up for a bigger hop. Wood to the bag. And there are 2 down. A little over 14,000 here tonight. They will stand and cheer on Blake Wood with 2 outs in the ninth. And thanks to the generosity of Royals fans, the last 2 games, Royals Charities will be donating more than $13,500 to the American Red Cross for tornado victims collected yesterday and tonight at Kauffman Stadium. The money will be sent to disaster relief in Joplin, Missouri, and other areas hit by those deadly tornadoes. A strike to his Turris. Volunteers from the Kansas City chapter of the American Red Cross will be collecting cash donations again tomorrow, before, during, and after the Royals Angels game at 3:10. 1-1 on his Turris. It will not be a save for Blake Wood, but as far as being on the field and shaking hands after the final out, it'll feel like a save.
It'll feel real good.
Popped up into the glove of Alex Gordon, and the Royals have evened the series with the Angels. A 5-run bottom of the 3rd inning. Alex Gordon scored a run, drove in a run in that inning, finished with 3 hits tonight. Chris Getz had 3 hits and a run scored. Jeff Francis goes 7 innings, gives up 3 runs. A night when the Royals needed a strong start, they got it. And after a heartbreaking loss yesterday afternoon, the Royals bounced right back with a 4-run victory.
Well, Ryan, they really took advantage of a couple mistakes and made the Angels pay for them, and that's what you have to do. And you got to tip your hat to Jeff Francis for hanging in there, giving the Royals some innings, and also Blake Wood coming in and giving them 2 innings to close the game out.
Royals win it 7-3. Down to the field, and here's Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Joined down on the field by Chris Getz. Nice 3-hit night. Just put it in play in the infield every time, and you end up with 3 infield hits on the night. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was kind of unusual. I mean, you go up there trying to square up balls, and then sometimes you get the choppers. And, you know, I have the ability to run a little bit, so I was able to get some knocks out of those.
You've got the ability to run more than just a little bit, and I know, again, that's not completely the plan, but you see that ball put in play and try to make the best of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for me, I'm better off putting the ball on the ground in the air, give myself a chance to leg some things out.
All right, how about the job tonight of Jeff Francis? Maybe a little bit of bad luck with the sun in right field there, leads to a couple of runs, and then he settles down real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly pitched like a veteran. Obviously, a lot of guys could fold after that first inning with getting some bad breaks there. He kept it together, put together a solid outing for us and himself, put us in position to win the game, and a win that we certainly needed.
All right, and final thing, I mean, there have been so many ups and downs with this team. It's a very young team. It's been a bit of a rough stretch lately. How, as a team, have you been able to maintain that confidence level?
Yeah, we're being as positive as we possibly can. You know, we had a great team meeting today. We've been playing some good baseball. It's just we've been having some rough breaks towards the end of the game. Our offense, we feel like, is rolling. Our bullpen, we believe in them, and we feel like when we all come together, we're gonna put together a solid season.
Nice job tonight.
All right, thank you.
That is Chris Getz, 3 infield hits. It shows up as 3 hits in the box score, contributing to the win here. Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. And 3 hits tonight. And now, over the last 10 games that he has played, Chris Getz has added 27 points to his batting average. So the Royals take Game 2, 7-3. They'll go for the series tomorrow. Royals tonight, the key for them. Double plays that the Angels did not turn. The Royals ended up getting 6 runs in those 2 innings, 6 of their 7 runs in a 4-run victory. We'll be right back.